All right, y'all, let's look at that first problem in Test Prep Tuesday. This is just, remember, one way of showing the work for this. It's not the only way, but this is how Bert and I approached this problem when we initially were looking at it. And so this question says, at Stevenson High School, 50 students are taking German. This number has been increasing at a rate of 2 students per year. The number of students taking French is 118 and has been decreasing at a rate of 4 students per year. When will the number of students taking German be greater than the number of students taking French? Right, that's the question. So when we look at this, initially we thought of this as a linear equation, and that was because there was this initial amount, and then we increased by 2 students per year. And so when we write that out as a linear equation, this is what it would look like. Initially, 50 students were enrolled in the class, and each year, 2 more students are entering in. And so what that means is that the x variable represents the number of years that pass. The x variable represents the number of years that pass, but the y variable represents the class size. And so if we say, oh, well, only 1 year passed, right? Well, if x was 1 and we substitute in a 1, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 50 is 52. So we would know, okay, in 1 year, there would be 52 students in the class. So we did the same thing for the French scenario. Okay, we said there's a one-time enrollment amount, which is the current amount, 118 students in class. But each year, 4 students are not enrolling. And it says that by saying decreasing enrollment. And so in this scenario, we could say, once again, why is it negative? Because it's a decrease in the enrollment. And we could say, okay, in 1 year, how many students would be enrolled in this French class? Well, if we substituted in 1 for our x variable, which represents the number of years that pass, then we would just go ahead and say -4 times 1, which is -4, plus 118. And if I were to put those together, -4 plus 118, I would end up at 114 students would be enrolled after 1 year. And so what we basically did was we saw that year 3 was the first option here, so we tested year 3 out. Now, you don't see the math on here, but when we tested it out, it didn't work out to give us what the question was asking. In this case, when we substituted x equals 3, it actually showed us that the number of students enrolled in the German class is still smaller than the number of students enrolled in the French class. Then we tried out C, 12, and here it is. And you can see here, the number of students in the German class is 74, but now in French it's 70. So the number of students in German is greater than the number of students in French. So that final answer would be C. Now, some of you guys might have actually tried out letter D, which is also true. There are more students enrolled in German than in French. The only issue is, when did it occur earlier, right? And it occurred at year 12. So in a scenario like this, it would be good to test out a value that is close to the value of 13, simply because it could have occurred 1 year earlier. When we did try out letter B, right, 10 years, it was once again similar scenario as year 3. It wasn't true that the German enrollment was larger. It was smaller still. All right, let's go ahead to number 2. So for number 2, we've got a scenario here that says Jen and Gloria are visiting Donna, who lives between their homes. Oh, I love a picture. Who lives between their homes. Now, I didn't know this visual yet until I read that second sentence. To go home, Jen rides her bike east for 30 minutes at an average speed of 15 miles per hour. So you see here how Bert tried to keep that visually present on the side. And it's nice to do that, to add notes on the side so you can recall things. Gloria rides her bike west for 45 minutes at an average hour 20 miles per hour. Well, they just used the words west and east. So I'm definitely going to use this direction, east for Jen and west for Gloria. I know they travel 30 minutes on the left. Gloria is traveling 45. And I know the speed they're going. So all I have to do is multiply. I take the rate, though. You don't multiply 30 minutes by miles per hour. You have to take that as a rate of an hour. So 30 divided by 60 times 15 gets you 7.5. 45 divided by 60 times 20 gets you 15. And if you add them together, you see that the distance apart is 22.5.